Olivia Rodrigo gripped the steering wheel of her sleek black SUV, her fingers tapping against the leather as she pulled into the quiet, picturesque neighborhood. The houses were immaculate, each one a pristine reflection of suburban perfection. White fences, trimmed lawns, not a single leaf out of place. But something about it felt off. The stillness wasn't peaceful, it was stifling. She cut the engine, rolling down her window to take in the air. Too clean, too controlled, like someone had vacuum-sealed the entire block. A group of neighbors stood at a distance, whispering behind manicured hedges. Their eyes darted toward her, then away. Her first real introduction to the neighborhood came the moment she stepped out. A sharp, clipped voice sliced through the quiet. "You must be the new homeowner." Olivia turned to see a woman approaching, a clipboard clutched in one hand, a pinched expression on her face. She was the living embodiment of authority gone sour, perfectly styled bob, aggressively beige cardigan, lips pursed in an expression that suggested she smelled something unpleasant. "I'm Karen. HOA president," the woman continued, not offering a handshake. "We have rules here." Olivia smiled, unsure whether to laugh at the cliché of it all. "Right. Nice to meet you." Karen's eyes narrowed at Olivia's jeans, oversized hoodie, the effortless cool that she carried like second nature. Something about her presence seemed to offend. "There are a few things you should know," Karen said, flipping a page on her clipboard. "Firstly, your trash bins must be brought in within 10 minutes of pickup, or you'll be fined. Lawn maintenance is required twice a week. Vehicles must be parked in approved positions, and any overnight guests must be pre-registered with the HOA. Olivia blinked. Overnight guests? Karen didn't blink. For security reasons, of course. Security, Olivia repeated, letting the word roll off her tongue like it was something foreign. And what happens if I don't follow these rules? Karen's smile was thin. We issue citations. Then fines. Then we escalate. The way she said escalate made Olivia's skin crawl. She was used to dealing with difficult people. Industry sharks, social media critics, producers with a god complex. But Karen's brand of power wasn't loud. It was insidious. The kind that slithered under your skin before you even noticed it. I'll be sure to keep that in mind, Olivia said coolly, brushing past her toward the front door. Later that evening, Olivia had a few close friends over. Nothing wild, just music humming through the speakers, laughter echoing off the walls as they unpacked. She was finally settling in, finally breathing. Then the pounding started. 3 sharp, furious knocks rattled the front door. Olivia exchanged a glance with her friend before pulling it open. Karen stood there, her expression carved from stone. "You're in violation." Olivia blinked. "Excuse me?" "Noise ordinance," Karen snapped. "It's past 6 o'clock." Olivia scoffed. "It's not even loud. I could hear it from my kitchen. Maybe because you're standing outside my house." Karen's fingers tightened around her clipboard. "This is your first warning. Next time it's a fine." Olivia exhaled through her nose, reining in her irritation. "Understood." Karen lingered for a moment as if expecting a different reaction, before turning sharply on her heel. The moment she disappeared down the driveway, Olivia slammed the door shut, shaking her head. "This is gonna be fun," she muttered. The next morning, Olivia woke up to a bright yellow notice taped to her door. Citation: loud music after designated hours, $500 fine. Her irritation simmered into something sharper. She crumpled the paper in her fist. This wasn't about rules. It was about control. And Karen wasn't going to stop. Olivia stared at the crumpled fine notice in her hand, her jaw tightening. The ink smudged slightly from the pressure of her grip, but the message remained clear. This wasn't just about a noise complaint. Karen had drawn a line in the sand. Fine. Olivia had dealt with power-hungry industry executives, critics who dissected her every lyric, and internet trolls who thought they knew her better than she knew herself. A suburban HOA president? Please. But as the days passed, it became evident that Karen wasn't just petty, she was relentless. The first sign came when Olivia noticed a white sedan parked across the street. The same car in the same spot at every hour of the day. Sometimes, the tinted driver's side window would roll down just enough for someone to take notes. The second sign was the citations. Another one appeared for failure to maintain lawn aesthetics. It had been 3 days since she moved in. Another for incorrect placement of trash bins. And another, this one infuriatingly vague, stating she had disrupted the neighborhood ambience. Then came the cameras. Olivia nearly dropped her coffee when she stepped onto her front porch and saw the glint of a security camera affixed to a lamppost, pointed directly at her house. She stormed across the street, rapping her knuckles against Karen's pristine red door. It swung open a second later and Karen stood there, not surprised, not even pretending to be polite. Just waiting. Tell me you didn't put up a security camera outside my house, Olivia said, arms crossed. Karen tilted her head as if the question itself was childish. There for community safety. No one else has one pointed at their living room window. Then perhaps no one else has been a nuisance to the neighborhood. Olivia scoffed, stepping closer, her voice dropping. You don't like me. Fine. But this? This is harassment. Karen didn't flinch. This is enforcement. They stared at each other, a silent battle waged in the narrowing space between them. Then Karen's lips curled into something almost smug. If you don't like it, she said, you can move. Olivia exhaled sharply, biting back the storm of words rising in her throat. She had come here for peace, for a reset, to build something that felt like home. She wasn't going to let a power-hungry suburban dictator ruin that. She turned and walked away, but Karen's voice trailed after her. Oh, and one more thing, she called. The HOA board meeting is next week. If you'd like to voice your concerns, you're welcome to attend. Not that it'll change anything. Olivia didn't look back. But she would be at that meeting. And Karen had no idea who she was messing with. Olivia sat in her dimly lit living room, her laptop open, fingers drumming against the keyboard as she scrolled through a seemingly endless thread of HOA horror stories. She wasn't the first person to cross paths with a Karen like this, but she was determined to be the last. Her screen flickered with news articles about HOAs gone rogue, fraud, embezzlement, illegal fines. The more she read, the clearer it became. Karen wasn't just drunk on power. She was profiting from it. Olivia's gaze flickered to the stack of violation notices piled on her coffee table, each one more absurd than the last. She picked one up and examined the small HOA logo at the bottom, her eyes narrowing. A quick online search confirmed her suspicion. Karen had personally approved every single fine, and more importantly, she had been cashing in on them. A slow smile tugged at Olivia's lips. Karen had made one crucial mistake. She assumed Olivia would back down. The first step was gathering evidence. Olivia spent the next few days doing what she did best: observing, listening, documenting. She recorded conversations with neighbors, noting the way they hesitated before speaking Karen's name, the way their shoulders tensed when they mentioned fines they couldn't afford. Then there were the cameras. Karen had overstepped, and Olivia knew just how to use it against her. Late one evening, Olivia set up her phone on a tripod across the street, ensuring Karen's newest surveillance edition was in full view. With the press of a button, she started recording. Hey guys, she began, her voice dripping with mock enthusiasm. So, fun fact, I just found out that my totally normal suburban neighborhood now has a mandatory surveillance program. That's right. One person, just one, gets to decide who gets watched and who doesn't. Can you guess who? She zoomed in on the camera, its red light blinking ominously. I moved in a few weeks ago, and ever since then I've been slapped with fines for things like existing. But the best part? The woman running this place? She's pocketing every single dollar. The video cut to a stack of HOA documents spread out across Olivia's desk, highlighting payments made to an account linked directly to Karen. That's right, Olivia continued. This isn't about rules. It's about control. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like being watched. She posted the video and went to bed. By morning it had over 1 million views. The hashtag Karen from Hell trended within hours. People flooded the comments with their own HOA horror stories, some even offering legal advice. Then came the news outlets. By the next evening, Olivia's inbox was packed with interview requests. HOA corruption wasn't just a niche complaint anymore, it was national news. And Karen had no idea what was coming. The HOA meeting was packed. Folding chairs lined the sterile community center, each one filled with a neighbor who had spent years under Karen's reign. Normally, these meetings were a formality, a tedious gathering where Karen dictated rules and the rest nodded along. But tonight was different. Tonight they weren't just spectators, they were witnesses. Karen sat at the front of the room, her usual smugness barely concealing the tightness in her jaw. She tapped her nails against the table, glancing at the clock, impatient. We'll begin with, I have something to say. Olivia's voice cut through the murmurs. She stood, eyes locked onto Karen's, watching the older woman's expression shift from irritation to something closer to recognition. Karen smirked. Ms. Rodrigo, as I've said before, these meetings are for serious community concerns, not personal grievances. Oh, this isn't personal, Olivia said, stepping forward. This is about all of us. She reached into her bag, pulling out a thick stack of papers. These are copies of the HOA's financial records for the last 5 years. She set them on the table, her voice steady. Copies that show you, Karen, have been misappropriating thousands of dollars in fines, pocketing money from this community, and using it to fund your little personal empire. The room fell silent. Karen's face remained impassive, but Olivia saw the slight shift in her breathing. A flicker of uncertainty. This is ridiculous, Karen scoffed. You have no idea what you're talking about. Olivia pulled out her phone. I also have a recording of you admitting to selectively enforcing rules. Specifically targeting residents you don't like. Would you like to hear it? Karen's composure cracked, her fingers clenching the edges of her chair. And let's not forget the cameras you installed without consent, Olivia continued. The ones that were only pointed at my house. The ones you claimed were for security, but were, in reality, just another way to assert control. She turned her phone around, pressing play. Karen's voice filled the room, unmistakable, dripping with condescension. Asterisk, we can't just have anyone doing whatever they want. If we let her get away with this, others will start thinking they have power too. Asterisk. The shift in the room was palpable. Neighbors exchanged glances, some angry, some vindicated. You've all been manipulated, Olivia said, scanning the crowd. How many of you have been fined unfairly? How many of you have paid money you didn't owe because you were afraid of retaliation? Hands started going up. 1, then 3, then nearly half the room. A man near the back stood, voice firm. She fined me $200 because my mailbox was the wrong shade of white. She threatened to evict my grandmother over wind chimes, another woman added. The pressure in the room built like a storm, crackling with long-suppressed anger. Karen forced out a laugh, too sharp, too rehearsed. This is absurd. These are the rules. If you can't follow them, then perhaps you don't belong in this neighborhood. Someone scoffed. Someone else muttered, unbelievable. Olivia leaned forward. No, Karen. You don't belong here. A door swung open at the back of the room and 2 uniformed officers stepped in. The sight of them sent a ripple of whispers through the crowd. Karen's head snapped toward them. What is this? Karen Mitchell? One of the officers moved forward, pulling a folded document from his pocket. We have a warrant for your arrest on charges of fraud, embezzlement, and harassment. The color drained from Karen's face. This is a mistake, she stammered, standing too quickly, her chair scraping against the floor. You can't, this is. The officer's voice was calm but firm. You have the right to remain silent. The room watched, spellbound, as Karen was led away, her mouth opening and closing in stunned disbelief. The woman who had ruled with an iron grip was now powerless, her kingdom crumbling around her. As the doors swung shut behind her, the tension in the room broke. Someone clapped. Then another. Then the whole room erupted into cheers. Olivia exhaled, feeling the weight of weeks of frustration finally lift. She turned to the remaining board members, now looking small and shaken. This HOA is supposed to serve the community, not control it. And after tonight? I think it's time for some new leadership. The meeting ended with the vote to dissolve Karen's policies and restructure the HOA. It wasn't just a win, it was a reckoning. 2 weeks later, Olivia stood on her front porch, watching as movers carried furniture out of Karen's house. A foreclosure notice was taped to the door. Her phone buzzed with a notification. A new meme had gone viral, a screenshot of Karen's shocked face as she was led away, captioned, "When you try to ruin someone's life but forget they have 40 million followers." Olivia chuckled, slipping her phone into her pocket. Peace at last. And this time she made the rules.